What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a beat with the Roland MS-1 and the SP404-MK2. Now, confession time, I was recording this before and this camera decided that it didn't want to work and it only recorded about 10 seconds worth of footage. I couldn't rely on just the other camera for the whole video, so I am going to have to go back and remake this beat, which is really annoying. And because of that, there's some things that I'm not going to do again. It's an extremely hot day here in the UK. I'm getting a little bit agitated, and the fact that that didn't work was really annoying. So what I'm going to do is show you that I sampled a sample into the MS-1, and that is just a stretch of music. And what I've done is sampled that on the lowest grade possible, which is long 2. There's 4 possible grades. I've used the lowest grade. And yeah, it comes out very quiet, but we can solve that with the Mark II. That's not a problem. And what I've also done with that is I've pitched it down minus 20%. Now, you kind of have to do that with this device, I think, just because that's the rules. If you're using old gear, I want to make use of the pitch and the sample rate as well. I know you can pitch on this, but I wanted to use this pitch. So I've gone ahead and done that. And what I'm going to do now is record that onto the SP404-MK2. So external source is on. 1 is the pad that it's going to go on, and record. Okay, that's done, and it's very quiet, like I said, so we can fix that with the Mark II. I'm going to do 1, press that, and what I'm going to do is go to start end, and you can see here the waveform is absolutely tiny. So what I'm going to do is do menu with the value wheel, normalize, and that should be way better now. Nice, and you should be hearing some of the character from the Roland MS-1 there, which I'm actually going to turn off now because I don't need this anymore. So let's zoom into this start point, and I'm going to capture that start point without any dead space. And you can see it there. Okay, great, now we've got that, it's normalized, so we're getting a good volume out of it, and it's got no dead space at the start. Now what I'm going to do is use the chopping feature to get the chops from this, so I'll go through the process of that now. It's shift and start end to chop, and I'll go through and make these chops and then come back to you guys. Okay, I just went through and did the chops. I made an absolute terrible job of getting them anywhere near time, but fortunately with this chopping feature, you can go back and change the points. You can either use the right-hand dial here to cycle through the mark points, and as you can see, the pads are changing to show you which one it's on. I prefer to use the pads to just find it a little bit more intuitive. So that one's fine, let's go to 2. You can hear there the start point's just completely out, so let's zoom right in. There we go, that sounds good. Okay, and I think we're there with the chops now, and then what I'm going to do is go ahead and make use of the 0 cross point feature, which is new to the 2.0 update on this machine. If you don't know about that, then I'll leave a link to that in the top right hand corner. It basically means that where your chop is made, it's exactly 0. But yeah, go ahead and check that video out, and that shows you all about that. And all you have to do is go to the chop and hit resample. And as you can hear there now, we've got a lot of very nice smooth chops. So next what I'm going to do is assign those to the pad. So let's go to menu, assign to pad, and I'm going to do gate off because we're going to put that in a mute group, so we don't want gate on any of these. Assign them 1 to 9 and enter to do that. Okay, great, that's done. These are all on the pads, and immediately I'm going to do a mute group, and we're in bank E, so I'm going to go to E, and I'm going to add all those in. So that's all 9 chops, they're all in that mute group now, so that's saved, and we can come out of it. So let's hear what we've got now. Okay, that's all sounding good, and I have some drums down here. These are from Lo-Fi Drums Volume 4. I've got a hi-hat. I've turned that down quite a lot because I like my hi-hats to be low in the mix. The snare, what I've done with this is pitched it up 2, and you can see here if I go to the start and end point, I've taken the tail right off it. The reason I did that was because it has a kind of roomy reverb echo on the tail of this particular drum. So I've cut that off and made it really, really nice and snappy. Hardly any tail at all. The kick is as is, but I've just turned the volume down a little bit. So we've got drums there. What I'm going to do now is resample a really simple drum loop so we can start building the ideas for a chop. So resample 12. And that should loop perfectly, hopefully. Yep, that's definitely good enough for what we need now. So let's go ahead and start trying to get some ideas together. And that's sounding really nice. Luckily, that is exactly the same kind of chops that I had originally when I first did this video. So I've gone and managed to find the same kind of pattern. And one thing that you'll notice is that it sounds a little bit choppy. And that's because there's not quite enough tail on these chops to fill the spaces. I don't really like the sound of that. So what I'm going to do is change the pitch. And I'm just going to bring it down by 1. I'm going to apply this to the whole group by holding copy. And you can see there it's saying to mute group. And I'm going to do it to -1. And what that's going to do is make it a little bit slower. You can see there it's changed it to 94.4%. And now we should have a little bit less of that dead space in between the chops because they're slightly longer. And hopefully that hasn't changed the tempo of them too much so that we can still use the same pattern. Let's have a listen. And yeah, that sounds perfect, and it sounds way, way better. It's filled that space, and that's sounding like a much smoother loop now, so really, really happy with that. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is get the tempo of that. So I'm going to play this loop, the drum loop, and I'm going to use the tap tempo feature to get the tempo. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to hit 12, and then I'm going to do Shift and 11 for tap tempo, and use sub pad to get the tempo. Okay, that's quite convincing that seems like that's 75 BPM. So now we've got that locked in, we can go into the pattern mode and we'll do record. And we need a 4-bar loop, and I'm going to stick it on 100% strength quantize, and I'm going to do the chops first. So let's give that a go and see if that works. Okay, I would say that was very, very close to being perfect. I'm happy with that, and I think when I layer the drums over the top as well, even though the ending isn't quite perfect, I think it will be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that because I'm probably going to use that as an intro. And now what I can do is layer the drums over the top of this. So the first thing I'm going to do is the kicks and snares. And I'm going to bring the strength of the quantize down a little bit to try and make it sound a little bit more natural. So we'll go for somewhere around 50. Let's go for exactly 50 and see what that sounds like. And I'm going to drum out a little pattern with the kick and the snare. Okay, I don't actually like what that did with the kicks there, so I'm going to copy that again. I could have used undone, but I accidentally came out of record mode and then lost all the undoing. So I'm going to have to do this again, which is fine. It didn't take long. So record again. And I'm going to turn this down even more, just so we can get that more natural feel. Perfect, that's worked way better. And now what I'm going to do is do the hi-hats, but I'm going to quantize them at 100 because I want it to be right on the money. So 100, record. Okay, and that's sounding really good. That loops very nicely. Some of you will not want to use 100% quantize on your hi-hats. That's absolutely fine if you want to get way more feel into your beat with that. I've just gone for that because I kind of like the hi-hat being exactly in time and then the kick and the snare being a bit looser. That's just my personal way of making beats. I think if you get the hi-hat out too much, it can really ruin the kind of vibe of the loop. So if you're going to use the hi-hats without quantize, be careful of that. That's why I tend to do quite sort of heavily quantized hi-hats just to keep everything knitted together nicely. So that's sounding nice, but what we can do now is add some effects because we don't have any effects on this at the moment. And as you can see on my buses, they're completely empty. I'm going to go to one of my presets, which is Isolator and the 303 vinyl sim compression. So you can see that they're set up. Let's see what difference that makes to the sound. I'll turn it off and then I'll put it on halfway through. Okay, that is sounding better, but it's sounding a little bit noisy. And weirdly, what I'm going to do to compensate for that is to add my own noise instead. So I'm going to use the 404 vinyl simulator. It's already ready to go. Record, and there's a blank pad here. Record. And now I'm going to loop that and take gate off so it just keeps going round and round. So. Okay, so quite a crunchy sounding beat now with that noise over the top. And what I have got here as well is some little Foleys, which are from my other drum packs as well.
From now on, we live in a world where man has walked. From now on, we live in a world where man has walked.
A little Tom Hanks quote. And there's one more which I want to get, which I think is in my Lo-Fi Drums Volume 3. So let's go ahead and go to the import area. Import from SD card, sample, SP vids. Lofi Drums Volume 3. All of these are available on spvids.com if you want to pick these up and support what I do. And if you buy 1, 2, 3, and 4 altogether, you get 20% off as well. So they're really, really good value for what you get, I think. Let's go down, and I think it's this one.
Yeah.
That's exactly the one I wanted. So let's add that one in. That's done. And what I want to do is add a loop with that hitting on every quarter note, I think it might be. I'm not really sure about that one. Correct me in the comments if I've got that wrong. So I'm going to copy this, record, 3, record. And that just adds a little bit of variety. So we've got 3 different parts to the track now. We've got the intro, which is just the chops on its own. We've got the main beat, and we've got the variation with the rap Foley over the top. Of course, I could go through and make a lot of other variations, but I'm not going to show you the process of that one. I will make a video soon about different variations that you can make for some inspiration. So make sure you subscribe if you're not already to get notifications about that one. I think that's a good idea for a video. But yeah, we've got 3 there, and I'm going to try and start building a little bit of a track here. So let's go ahead and go to
From now on, we live in a world.
This, and I'm going to start making a beat just on the fly, and let's see what this sounds like.
From now on, we live in a world where man has walked on the moon. It's not a miracle. He just decided to go.
And there we go, with those 3 parts, you could see I was already starting to make quite a nice sounding beat. I could probably add some sub as well. I'm sure some of you in the comments will be screaming out saying this needs some sub on it. I can do that later and add it to the beat. I can also build more variations in my own time as well. But for the sake of the video, I think that's enough to show you guys. That is basically the entire process of making a beat with the SP404-MK2, but I processed the samples using the Roland MS-1. So that was a really fun workflow, really enjoyed doing that, and I've been doing that a lot with this device since I got it. This is just the first time I sat down and actually recorded it and talked through it like I have in this video. Hope it was useful to some of you guys out there, especially those of you that are new to making beats. I hope there's something you learned from that process. I'll be back with more content very soon, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Hit the thumbs up if this was useful, and also please check out spvids.com for my drum packs. That keeps this funded, this whole project that I'm doing here, including just day-to-day living and buying stuff like this, like the MS-1, so I can introduce this to the channel and show you how it works. Take it easy, guys. Keep making beats. I'll be back very soon. Peace.